Okay, 95 billion approved. Now, here's what they were calling the Chinese. The House leader, Mike Johnson, says that China, Iran, and Russia are global threats around the world and a threat to our prosperity and security. Their advance threatens the free world, and it demands Americans' leadership. On top of that, they've asked for the banning. They've told the owners of TikTok, they didn't ask, they told them, sell this company to America. Now, there's 124 Fortune 500 US companies in China right now. Carl, give us your outlook. Where is this going? Is the Americans actually going to get this company sold right in front of broad daylight? I mean, if that happens, forget even opening any company in the United States. It's got to be bad for business. I want your take on this.
Oh, I mean, this is extortion, right? I mean, it's just the process of getting ByteDance to sell TikTok to American investors that started under the Trump administration. It continued under Biden, and the push behind that, there's a couple factors. There's the national security people who claim that TikTok is a tool for Chinese surveillance spying. But there's also a big business interest like Facebook and Google. They are getting their lunch eaten away by TikTok. You know, I mean, compared to TikTok, Instagram is nothing. Google, like the YouTube is trying to do like the short video format. They're trying to copy TikTok, but they're not achieving the same level of success. This is because ByteDance has this very good algorithm, the AI recommendation engine. And so what these people are trying to do, they're trying to get ByteDance to sell the algorithm to American companies. I mean, that's like the trade secret of ByteDance. The algorithm is the key. This is Chinese government has made it very clear they will not allow ByteDance to sell TikTok. You know, they rather TikTok get banned inside United States than having ByteDance forced to sell TikTok. So what does a TikTok ban even mean? You know, like, does it mean they're gonna just ban it from the IP address inside US? Are they gonna try to ban it from all American platform, like I'm talking about iPhone and Android? Are they going to ban from the Apple Play Store and the Google Play Store? Then that could actually amount to like a global ban. I mean, it will affect to all the users beyond the border of the U.S. And TikTok, I foresee if it goes to that far, ByteDance will probably take them to court. I mean, this is they can fight them under the freedom of speech issue. So this is political theater. You know, TikTok is a political theater. It's pushed by some very strong business group like Facebook and Google. They don't have any exposure in China, so for them, banning TikTok is only gain for them. They have they don't have to worry about losing the Chinese market because they're not in the Chinese market. Of course, this is not the case for other American companies. You know, the whole reason Tesla achieved its success right now is because they have opened up the Shanghai Gigafactory. The Shanghai Gigafactory was a turning point for Tesla. And, you know, same thing with GM. You know, China is the world's largest market for automobiles. GM China sells more cars than they sell in United States. So this could have a lot of repercussions on the Sino-American trade relationship if they do go forward with a ban. I mean, it's too early to tell right now. I mean, they could end up watering down the language and but I want to return back to the Taiwan. You know, in the $95 billion bill, there's $8 billion for Taiwan. and I have a feeling most of that money is just going to cycle back to the U.S. military-industrial complex. In terms of weapon sales to Taiwan, because Taiwan is actually one of the biggest customers for the U.S. weapon systems. It has been a very good customer for decades, and they always buy these like outdated and useless weapon, but expensive weapon platform. Taiwan is buying Abrams tanks. What the hell? How are they going to do with Abrams tanks on Taiwan? I mean, by the time you need to use Abrams tanks, it's too late. You're on an island, and so, but the people on Taiwan.
I'm stealing that one. I'm stealing that one. That's the best analogy I've ever.
I agree. I agree with you, Carl. I mean, we're talking. The Americans are concerned about a provincial island that is 12,200 nautical miles away from the shores of the United States. But listen, we think, both you and I say, oh, they'd be crazy if they banned TikTok. But look at the dismantling they've done of Huawei, to the extent that they went to absolutely obliterate this company. They put a pretty high profile person under house arrest for years, Meng Wanzhou. I mean, this is the extent they'll go to if we think that they're just going to, maybe let's push this in the courts. Let's get it, push it down, kick the can down the street for a while. I don't think it's going to go like that. I think they are going to go full on with this. And I mean, DJI is on their list as well, the drone manufacturer. You could see many people in the United States saying, well, wait a moment, why would they ban DJI drones? Got to wonder. I mean, they do play a significant part in helping Ukraine, but, not directly, but I mean, you could see from a retail standpoint, a lot of these drone manufacturers don't know that their products are being used or have any ability where they get eventually sold to. But my whole concern here is that, people don't really understand how serious this TikTok thing is. I mean, there are 7 million American businesses that rely on this. There is, I think, a staggering number of about 180 million Americans have this application. I mean, if we go down the road to ban TikTok, which is very possible, it's not hard. I mean, you try to find a mobile phone here in China with a Google Play Store on it. It's not happening. You can't find it. 5-6 years ago, every Android under the sun here in China, which surprises me because here's a massive market for Google, a massive market. Imagine that. Imagine somebody saying, hey, you got this great Play Store? Yeah. You got a bunch of app developers? Yeah. We could turn this store on to, I don't know, 1.2 to 1.5 billion people that could immediately buy these apps and use these apps. Oh, no. National security. Boom. We don't think it's happened, but it happened. And, Google's out of here. The Play Store's out of here. It's off the mobiles.
Well, Google left China because that's their decision.
But Carl,
they didn't get banned by China. China says, okay, look, if you want to stay in China, you got to obey the Chinese laws. You have to store all the Chinese user data in China,
right?
And you have to obey the Chinese censorship
laws. And I agree.
And Google said, no, we're not going to do that, and we're going to leave. And they also did that because they're getting they weren't the dominant player in China.
Yeah,
Baidu was
but that
just
you're missing a little bit of my point.
No. Let me finish. Google. I mean, TikTok is a whole different animal from Huawei.
I know.
In terms of visibility, because Huawei, okay, sure, some people had Huawei phones, and like some people might vaguely aware that Huawei was building out telecom networks in the rural U.S. Rural areas. But TikTok, a lot of people know about TikTok. Huawei, there's no way the U.S. or Five Eyes was going to allow Huawei to build out 5G networks because
but
Huawei
they still
is
have
not going. No. They're not gonna. There was no way they were gonna allow Huawei because the U.S. intelligence services, they cannot get a backdoor through Huawei. They have backdoors in all the other existing systems. That's why they can listen into Angela Merkel. But the fact that they couldn't get a backdoor to Huawei, that means they have to ban it. I mean, that's why they didn't allow Huawei. Go ahead.
I get what you're saying, but I'm saying that the Google thing, that was the first step, and that didn't completely keep Google Play Store off of mobile phones. Then they started to go after the mobile phone manufacturers and say, okay, wait a minute, we won't give you access to using the Android Play Store. So that was the second death blow. And then you see the Canadian government, we're 5G network with Huawei, we won't allow it, even though 83% of Canada's 4G network is still powered by Huawei's product. It's still sitting on the telecommunication lines. And the Canadian government doesn't know what to do, how to rip these lines out, because it's going to cost multi-billions of dollars. So they either go back into the Stone Age or they deal with it. And I think this is what we're seeing here, is that now the time is running out. We're talking 6G already here, 6G plus, I think even. And these countries are starting to get outdated with this technology, and they're saying, wait a minute, we have to stop this at any cost. And when you see things like this passed in the House, where it goes over to the Senate, it will get support of the Senate.
But Alex,
yes,
just quick questions here. Yep. I'm literally the dumbest guy in the room, and I'm proud to be the dumbest guy in the room. But I did learn some military math, and it's very basic math. Okay, the House did this, and the Senate and the President. How many Americans are there again? I mean, I'm just working on this number, raw number. 340 million?
340 million, yep.
How many Canadians are there?
39 million, 40 million.
Yeah, so together it's under 400 million, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, the last 5-year plan, China brought 300 plus million people up into the middle class. China doesn't give a damn about the American population or the Canadian population. China doesn't give a damn about the European population. Carl, help me out on this one here. If Blinken follows through and starts sanctioning the Chinese financial system, how long will it take China to drop the dollar?
Well, I mean, then China will have no choice.
Correct. So it doesn't matter. Have no choice. So Blinken right now, thank you for saying that. Right now, China doesn't want to drop the dollar because even though they're doing these deals, the dollar is still convenient. And China, at the end of the day, is business savvy. And so when you are doing a lot of transactions, the dollar transactions reduces the friction in your financial system. That's like the Russians didn't want to dump the dollar either until we unplugged them from the dollar. Then Russia had no choice. China, if we sanction China's financial institutions, it's instantaneous decision by China to unplug. Now China unplugs. Now you're the Russians, and the United States, because also contained in this ridiculous bill isn't just the TikTok thing. It's seizing $8 billion of Russian sovereign wealth and transferring to Ukraine. So now you're China sitting on a whole bunch of U.S. securities and everybody else. And the United States just said, we can rob you anytime we want to. Thank you very much for buying into the dollar system, but now we can rob you. How long will it take China to unplug? I know your answer. They have no choice. They have to unplug. So does the entire world. Now, while everybody's unplugging because America and Canada and Europe operate under the premise that the world needs us. No, we convenience the world for the moment, but the world doesn't need us. They like to have us because it saves money. But the second we become intolerably inconvenient, they will jettison us. And now we have something happening this year, and it's called the BRICS Forum in October. And all we've done is guarantee that at BRICS, because right now, and I know this firsthand, all these foreign ministries are sitting there getting ready to come to BRICS, and they're wrestling over issues such as the dollar, De-dollarization. Well, it's inconvenient for us. We don't want to de-dollarize on a rapid acceleration because we don't know what's going to happen and we might lose a little bit of money. America is going to ruin your economy. Say the dollar. We're dumping the dollar. We need to come up with something now. You just made their life easier. Foreign ministers will now turn to the economic ministers and say, I don't want to ever hear anything again about staying with the dollar or dumping it. Move, find a solution. And that order is being given around the world. And when they come together in BRICS in October, thanks to the lunacy of the United States Congress, the idiocy of the Canadian Parliament, and everything else in between, the dollar is going to be dumped. The U.S. financial institutions are going to be dumped. You think this is about TikTok? This isn't about TikTok. This isn't about Huawei. This is about financial control of the world. And the Chinese, Indian, Russian, Eurasian, developing South economic world that is gathering through BRICS. And believe me, the more BRICS gets its act together, because there's a whole bunch of holdouts there going, oh man, we like that BRICS thing. We like that, but we got dollars. Oh God, we got to hang out with the SWIFT system and the dollars. It's inconvenient. But when BRICS and Russia and China solve the problem by being compelled to make the hard decisions, not because they want to, they were forced to. Carl just said it right. You have no choice. If Blinken puts sanctions on the Chinese financial system, do you think the Chinese are going to sit there and go, well, it's just a partial sanction of our financial system? Or the Chinese say, this is it. You started a fight we told you never to do. It's now over. We're unplugging. Goodbye. It's going to cost us money, but we've dumped your securities. You're on your own. Free fall dollar, free fall U.S. economy. Stick it in your ear. We're moving on. And everybody else is sitting there going, damn, they're moving on. How long do you think it's going to take Colombia to go, dollar? Do svidaniya. You know,
I just think
this is suicide. The TikTok move is suicide by the U.S. Congress. Literal suicide. They're so stupid, they don't see it.
I just want to add to that. Like, the Chinese don't want it to come to this, Scott. And that's the thing. They're trying to.
It doesn't matter what you want, Alex. Who cares what you want? It's what the other person does. I don't want the U.S. government to send me a tax bill every year. I really don't want them to do it. But they're going to do it, so I must be prepared for it. China may not want to unplug from the dollar, but when the United States attacks the very thing that makes their economy work, their financial institutions, you'd think China's just going to sit there and take that hit? No, they're not going to take that hit. They don't want to do this because it's inconvenient, but when you're given no other choice, you have to act. So China will unplug from the dollar. That's my bet. I don't see China allowing Tony Blinken to blackmail them over financial sanctions and say, oh, you're right, Tony. We've been wrong on everything we've been trying to do. 1 second. Vladimir Putin, yeah, we can't come to BRICS this year. I'm sorry. America's threatened our financial institutions with some serious sanctions. So we're unplugging from BRICS and we're just going to cave completely to the American imperial machine. Oh, by the way, since they've threatened our financial system, we're giving them Taiwan too. And I heard we're giving away Tibet and we may give away the Uyghurs and we're just going to allow our country. The Chinese aren't stupid. They're smart. They're savvy. They know what's going on here. They're not going to allow America to play this game. They've sat down with Blinken and Sullivan right with the beginning of the Biden administration in Alaska. Remember that meeting? And the Chinese, the Americans started their whole, we're American. The Chinese went, we don't care. You can't talk to us that way anymore. It's a whole new world. We're China. We're your equals. In some ways, we're better than you. So you better start treating us with respect or we don't care anymore. And I think that's where China is right now. They don't care about America anymore. They would like to care about America. It'd be a nicer world if they did, if they could. But how can you care about somebody? It's like being in a relationship with somebody. You want to have a relationship, but they're stealing from you and robbing from you and undermining. At some point in time, you can't be in a relationship with them. America's the worst mistress in the world. You know, the Chinese are expecting something. We're not giving them anything. Nothing. What benefit is there for China to stay in a relationship with the United States? What benefit? And there is none. Zero benefit. That's my.
Interesting point, gentlemen. Another thing that I'd like to ask you, Scott. I mean, since you're over there, does the average American talk about China's interest in the Belt and Road? Does the average American even know about it? The BRI
doesn't know anything about belts and roads. Doesn't know anything about. I mean, China is like I said. China's the place that gave birth to General Tso's chicken. Because when I pick up the phone and I call the Chinese fast food place, I can get my General Tso's chicken. I can get, bourbon chicken. I mean, how the hell did the Chinese come up with bourbon chicken? What the hell were the Chinese doing? Did they invent bourbon as well? My God, those Chinese are clever. Look, we don't know anything about China. We have a handful of China so-called experts, but again, you can't be a legitimate Chinese expert in America today. I live next door to one. All right. She actually has a PhD in Chinese history. She speaks the language fluently. She travels over there. They adopted Chinese children. She knows China. She loves China. She understands China. Nobody's going to listen to her because she's too damn smart. She knows the truth.
Can we bring her on the show?
I don't think she wants that kind of elevation. I think she's happy where she's at in life right now.
I was just thinking what Carl was thinking. I could see the wheels turning in Carl's like,
no. My point is that that's not what we get. Instead are these disgruntled cold warriors who came into maturity during the Reagan administration when China was bad. And Tiananmen Square, they keep throwing that meme up there and all that. And so they spin everything negative. I mean, you know who I'm talking about, Carl, right? This guy gets up there and he's over there. China's taking over the world. China's horrible. China's this, China. Nobody knows anything about the reality of China.